there when Bane broke Batman's back. They were there when Jason Todd returned and attacked. They say you'd hardly enjoy Joker's romance. One of them even made Batman piss his pants. Who's that in Poison Ivy's garden? It's Kevin Smith and Marc Bernardin. Two fat men on Batman. Well, and, you know, oftentimes at length about other stuff.
Welcome to Fat Man on Batman. I'm Kevin Smith.
I am Marc Bernardin.
Hey!
Hey!
Oh, we got so much to talk about. We are in London right now at the London Film and Comic Con. Put your hands together so the audience at home knows you were real. Too real, too real. Thanks for being here. We will kick off the show with what I think is breaking fucking news. I don't know that, I mean, it's all over the internet, so, you know, it's not like I'm breaking it myself.
No, you don't
but
have
I'm
a guy.
breaking it to you guys.
You don't have a guy who knows a guy who knows a thing?
I opened my phone and read this. Hot Pie from
Yes.
Game of Thrones.
Uh-huh.
And I opened his name is Ben Hawkey. He's the kid that plays Hot Pie.
Okay. Best name ever. Go.
In real life, has opened a bakery here in London.
What's it
Just
called?
like his character, and he makes dire wolf bread just like he gave to Arya. And the bakery is called
Tell
You
me.
Know Nothing John Doe. Now, it says it's a delivery-only bakery, so what does that mean? Like, you can't go in?
I'm pretty sure we could go in. Let's fucking go.
Show up and just
Yeah.
be like,
Oi.
let us in. It's delivery only, though. That's like, you're not allowed to walk in. Do you think that's because, like, everyone will be like, hot pie and shit? And he's like, I can't get any baking done if I'm signing autographs.
All these underwears just getting thrown at him. You can't.
People that just want to fuck hot pie.
Yeah.
I whimsied on Twitter last week after the episode played. I said I would not be surprised if Hot Pie made it to the Iron Throne, because he was sitting there going, I'm a survivor. And you just know that means next week you're going to see Hot Pie's head on a fucking stick or something like that.
Somebody serving hot pies.
It's about browning the butter, as he told us.
Ooh.
What news have you uncovered here at Comic-Con? Or what have you been doing since you've been here at Comic-Con? And you came over as yourself? Like,
Well, no. I came over as Billy D. Williams, but nobody would buy that. You are far shorter and less cool than Billy D.
they're like, where's your cape?
It's sorted in the sack. See, I'm getting Britishisms down.
You
I'm doing
do.
this right.
You're getting them down. Well done, Sack. What is it? What they brought you over as a standalone guy, like Marc Bernardin from comic books?
They brought
TV?
me on. They brought me on as me first, and they're like, "Hey, you're a guy who writes comic books and maybe work on a TV show. Do you want to come to a convention?" I said, "Yes." And then they were like, "Oh, hey, Kevin is coming also." I said, "Amazing." And then it became a thing. And then it was like, surprise!
And people have been coming up to me at the signings and stuff, and they're like, I met Marc Bernardin. I was like, I fucking work with him. You're not impressing me. Put your dick away. But you're a legit, like, personality.
I am a legit personality. It's fucking weird.
Isn't it?
Mama never said there'd be days like this.
My mom, too, was just like, you're doing a show tomorrow? I said, yeah, I'm doing Fat Man on Batman with Marc Bernardin. And she goes, what's that like? I was like, Marc's like a really good story guy, can break story down insanely well and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, my mom's just glazing over. Because all she sees is like, oh, Tiger, you know, my boy talks. I don't care what he talks about, you know. But then I said, like, and, you know, Marc's wife went to Middletown South, which is like very near where I went to high school at Henry Hudson in Highlands in New Jersey. And it was a name that my mom instantly snapped her into the conversation. Like, what?
Tell me more about this woman.
Yeah, like, oh my God, we must know her. I'm like, we didn't know anybody who went to Middletown South. But it put her so close to the house, it made you feel like fucking family.
Aww.
So not only are you a bit of a degree of celebrity and shit, but you're also a degree of family in our house.
Well, I mean, I like, you're a tender lover. I feel like I've been a part of your family for a while.
You have.
Yeah.
Like a tender lover.
Tender lover.
Who have you seen since you've been here? The other day I was in the stairwell, and who was it walked by? Oh, it was Natalie Dormer. And I was like, oh, fuck, man. Like, after she walked past, You know, she's like, hello. I said, hey. And I wanted to be like, oh, fuck it. And I said it to the people I was with. I was like, that's Anne Boleyn from the Tudors. And they looked at me and they're like, and Game of Thrones. And I was like, yeah, that fucking too, Marjorie. But fucking, that was Anne Boleyn. I remember watching the Tudors and her death episode was fucking amazing. And I wrote to my agent, my Endeavor at the time. And I said, hey man, does anybody rep this girl? I want to send her an email going like, that fucking, the death of Anne Boleyn was amazing. Like I was a big Thomas More fan. So technically, I should be rooting for the death of Anne Boleyn and stuff. But she made the character so human and lovable that, like, when Henry killed her off, like, I lost it. I was real emotional. My wife came in. She's like, what happened? Did your mother die? And I was like, no, Anne Boleyn did. You know. She's like, who's that? A distant aunt? And I'm like, no, she's history. You know. So I saw her, and then, you know, they were like, you know, she was also in this. She was in Captain America, too.
That's
then
right.
somebody was like, she was in Hunger Games, you fucking idiot. And I was like, I just like the Tudors, all right? Fuck. Who else did I see? I told them last night we did a show, Smodcast. I said, I was in the hallway and fucking I saw this insanely good Terrence Stamp cosplayer. I was like, that's the best fucking Terrence Stamp cosplayer I've seen in my life. And they were like, that's Terrence Stamp. And I was like, he's here? And I'm like, yeah, everyone's kneeling before Zod and shit like that. People taking pictures of kneeling in front of him and shit.
I saw yesterday, the green room is a fucking bizarre place to be. But I was standing there and I saw somebody walk like kind of gingerly up to meet John Cleese.
He was in the green room?
He was in the green room. And it was Benedict Cumberbatch, who was like, I've always wanted to meet you. I wish my mom was here to see me meet you. And it was adorable.
It would have been so much better if Cleese was like, and you are... Yeah, Cleese was here, man. Somebody said it was like his first signing.
Yeah. I was set up yesterday next to John Rhys Davies.
Yeah.
Salah and Gimli.
Yeah.
And I was tweeting about this last night. He's like mid-80s, maybe. He was in a bad plane accident years ago and smashed a leg. They had to reconstruct it, so one leg is shorter than the other. So he's standing next to me, and anytime somebody with a wheelchair would pull up to the thing, he would stand up, walk around to go and shake the person's hand.
Oh my God.
And you could tell, like, just his back is screaming all the time.
Utter class.
Yeah, he's got a three-piece suit also, like blue pinstripe, Savile Row, like top notch.
Well, that's overdoing it.
Well, but he would walk around and he would shake their hand and he'd walk back, and every time he would pass me behind, he would clap me on the shoulder and says, "You handsome devil." And that's it. And I was just like, I love you so much. Tell me another story.
If only every time he classed you, he hit you with like a classic fucking line where he's like, bad dates. And you're like,
are you the monarch of the sea?
yes. Oh, my friends, I'm so pleased you're not dead. Who else have you seen?
I saw the cast of Iron Fist and kept my mouth shut.
Don't come to England and pick fights. Such an American thing to do.
I didn't. I held my tongue.
But inside you were screaming, going, I've got an opinion.
I have thoughts.
Who did I see? Well, I saw Alan Tudyk. I was signing next to him today. And everybody kept coming up to the table. I kept going, it's the fucking robot. And they were like, what? But I was trying to explain. It was like, he's in a zillion things, but I was referring to like Rogue One. So I kept building up to, because I essentially just could not remember the robot's name. So it wasn't like C-3PO. It doesn't roll off the tongue. And I was like, KY, K9, what the fuck? And so I kept saying like, he's the robot. And somebody was like, what is it, K2SO?
K2SO, yeah.
He's K2SO. And I was like, that's the fucking name. Now and looks at me like that and shit. And then we had people get engaged in front of us.
I saw the two people in wheelchairs.
There they are,
hey!
man.
So lovely.
It's a fucking incredible moment. And like 10 people after you, somebody got up to the table and like, did somebody just get married here? And I was like, well, no, but they're on their way and shit. And they looked relieved, like, thank God I didn't miss anything or something. But it was a beautiful, beautiful moment. When are you guys gonna tie the knot? Don't know yet. Get on the fucking answer, man. Move it.
I met Alicia Witt. Do you know who Alicia Witt is?
Yeah, she was. I mean, recently she was in Walking Dead.
She's Walking Dead. She was on Justified.
But I know her from Fun, a movie called Fun
Do
that
you?
she did with Renee Humphreys years ago.
I know her from Wait for My Brother, Baron.
That's right, she's in Dune, man.
She's Alia in Dune.
Yeah, she's
all
a little
fucking grown
kid.
up and lovely, and her eyes are totally still blue.
Are they really that same color? She's a singer, right? She
Had a gig over the weekend. Yeah,
Really?
in London. She's delightful. Everybody's delightful because
I
it's
saw
London.
Allison Hannigan
And her husband,
and her husband as well.
Alexis Denisov.
I
I just know names. My job is to know names.
But I don't know. It's been kind of weird and wonderful. Like, so, you know, who I saw was I didn't see her like in person or whatever, but I was down in the garage, creepily smoking weed, and so you see everyone that goes to the elevator. I saw Pamela Anderson,
Shut up.
who looks like she literally was plucked from the '90s and put here. She hasn't like aged, at least from a distance. And she was impeccably dressed. Like stylish. And for this fucking fat asshole to notice, who has no sense of haute couture whatsoever, that says something. I was like, God damn it, she's fucking stylish and shit. I was gonna go over and be like, teach me to dress. Thought it might have weirded her out though, so I didn't do it.
Nah, fuck, go for it, man. You're in London.
I know, right? I wanted to go talk to the guy who plays Hodor so badly.
I did talk to him yesterday.
Did you?
He's such a nice guy because he walked in. It was like Friday morning, and we both got there. We both had flown in from LA just after doing San Diego. He was like, "How you doing?" I'm like, "I'm fucking wrecked. I was just in San Diego." Like, me too. I was DJing and I was Hodoring all over the place, and he just sat there, looked. All right, let's go. Stands up, fucking giant, like hobbles over to the door. Bye, Hodor.
Did he hold it?
Yeah, he held it.
That's what I did. I would fan out big time. It'd just be like, Christ, dude, you don't know how many times I rewatched that episode. This is one of the most heroic things I've ever seen depicted in fiction. It made me feel like less of a human being, and you're not even real. I mean, you're real, but the fucking character's not. Made me weep. Made me call my mother and tell her how much I loved her and stuff like that. So maybe I'll have the moment. Maybe I'll just kind of nut up and go over and be like, hi. I did that to someone recently. Adie Bryant, she's on at Saturday Night Live in the States. And there's a sketch they do on SNL called Girlfriend's Talk Show, which I fucking adore. So she was at Comic-Con, and I went over and I was like, hey, my name is Kevin. I just wanted to say I'm a huge fan. And she looked like, she was like, oh, thank you. As if I was like, hi, I'm Hitler, and I'm a huge fan. She seemed a little like, I don't know what to do with that information, being that it's coming from you. It was kind of interesting. So maybe it shied me away from going up and being like, oh my God, I'm a huge fan. But I think I will, before the con ends, nut up and shit.
Do it. I met Benedict Wong.
Oh, right on.
Who's a lovely guy. He's like, how are you? Fine. He's like, how's Infinity War going? Tell me everything. He's like, no, I can't. They'll kill me. He's like, well, but you're so lovely. They won't kill you. You're cuddly. You're my cuddly magic friend.
Yeah, it's a who's who in that fucking green room. We got news to get to?
We have a little bit of news. A bunch of news like broke at San Diego, and then they turned off the news spigot, but we have a teensy bit. Warwick Davis is going to be in the untitled Han Solo movie because...
Oh, really?
Yeah, it turns out you can't make a Star Wars movie these days without Warwick Davis in it.
But also, that's a fucking Willow reunion.
Yeah, it's been 30 years since
yeah,
they worked
Ron
together.
Howard.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Playing somebody short. Untitled short person.
Maybe he's Snoke at the end of the day.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, right.
What?
Start floating that.
Make that happen.
That's big news.
That's big
huge.
news.
He seems to be having a good time taking over that Han Solo movie. He's kind of taken a shit situation where everybody was like, ew, man, they fired these guys who we all love from the Lego movie and fucking 21 Jump Street. And they're bringing in Ron Howard, who, we all like and stuff, but like, what's going on here? What kind of games are being played? And ultimately, you just can't dislike Ron Howard. He's kind of a sweet guy, and he keeps putting up real fun Instagram posts. Most people, if I was given that job, I'd be like, fuck, man, we're replacing somebody, and we're replacing people that people like. But he's a guy that was just like, well, I'm here to do a job, let's do it. And seems to be enjoying himself while doing it.
Yeah, he put up some posts today of him and the cinematographer Bradford Young, who was the DP on Arrival and Selma. And it's like, yeah, we're just making shit up as we go, was basically the internet post. Like,
Really?
oh, you guys are having so much fun. Not spiraling in a death spin, which would be easy to do.
Did you hear what ultimately, what was it that got the two other guys shit canned?
The vibe that I've gotten, from both stuff that we've been in the press and talking to people about it, it was that the movie began to diverge from what Kathy Kennedy and Lucasfilm wanted to be, and the kind of improv comedy that those guys wanted to make. And somewhere along the line, it was just, this is not a Star Wars movie anymore. This is a comedy that you're making up as you go, and we have a plan. Like it would be like trying to make up a Marvel movie. Like you can't do that. They have a fucking 20-year plan of how that's supposed to go, and you can't just be the dude who's like, I think they should have a slumber party. No, we're gonna fight giants.
Oh my God, I want to see that version of the fucking Star Wars movie.
Yeah, the Infinity Cuddle.
I guess the notion of kind of jumping in and ad-libbing a Star Wars movie probably seems expensive as well, too.
Yeah.
Like you're burning through cash and stuff as you're doing multiples. But at the same time, it would have been kind of cool to see a movie with a sense of humor, like intentional sense of humor, not like the Star Wars Christmas special. Like the idea where they were trying to make you laugh instead.
Yeah.
But I guess we're not going to see that version.
I mean, I wonder how much, and nobody knows how much of their original stuff will survive in the movie, because I can't imagine.
As a director who's a part of the Directors Guild, it's going to be an interesting, how do you share those credits?
Yeah.
How do you split them up? Especially if they wind up reshooting a bunch of things. Like, how do you split the credits?
Yeah.
Or do you split the credits? Does Ron Howard just take a producing credit and the original team gets their credit?
Yeah, which is weird because everybody in the world knows that Ron Howard will finish this movie.
Yeah, it'd be weird, yeah. All right, we'll follow more on that later. What else?
Warner Brothers is reportedly going to mount a Best Picture Oscar campaign for Wonder Woman.
I think that's smart. I mean, that's not what I thought when I saw the movie. Like, boy, this will win an Oscar. But I think now there's enough goodwill behind it, and it's broken enough records where you could definitely run it for some stuff.
Yeah, and the Oscars like to have, that's why they expanded the category to include up to 10 nominees. They want 2 or 3 of them to be movies people have seen ever, and not just tiny Croatian documentaries about doll making and mine explosions. It's ooh, look, 1 billion people have seen this movie. Maybe they'll watch the Oscars now.
Good point.
Yeah, and it's really good. Why the fuck wouldn't you do that?
They rarely try for comic book movies. Like when something like Deadpool gets an award, people are like, oh shit, it did? Well, thanks. They don't try, they don't run it, they campaign it.
Yeah.
So to kind of set out to do it, if you're gonna try with any comic book movie, that would seem like the one to go with.
I think Warner Brothers, 3 years ago, they had a decision between running Mad Max Fury Road for Best Picture or the Johnny Depp Black Mass movie, which they thought was going to be here's our Oscar thing.
Right.
We're going to get all the gold for this. And so they siphoned all of their resources away from Fury Road, which then got 9 nominations and won 7 Oscars. But I think they were burned by that a little bit. And Black Mass got nothing because it was only so-so. So I think this time around, they're like, everybody loves this movie. We think it's good. Let's actually put some resources behind it. Maybe we can get it there.
Where'd you see Fury Road?
On the road to Valhalla. Where did you see Fury Road?
I went to see it in Buffalo, New York.
Because that's what you do.
I was out doing a gig, like a stand-up gig, and I was in Buffalo. My friend Malcolm Ingram lives in Toronto, which is kind of directly above, it's a couple hours drive. But Malcolm is a bear in the gay community. That's a dude that looks like me and fucks dudes that look like Jason Mewes, I guess. Jay and Silent Bob would be a bear twink couple. Or as Malcolm would point out, he's just he's like, I'm a bear, he told me one day. I love Malcolm to death. He's my friend that's very blowhardy and shit like that. He's the guy that it's like, we came out of Batman v Superman. And I was like, what'd you think? He's like, it's a cinematic abortion, eh? Where you're like, rein it in, motherfucker, So he's very that guy. So for years, Jason Mewes would, it was the 90s, so he would insist that Malcolm was gay. Because he saw Malcolm eat a kielbasa once. And he was like, I know he's fucking gay, you know. And he'd tell him, Malcolm, you're gay. And Malcolm's like, stop it. No, I'm not. And he's like, yeah, I've seen you eat kielbasa and shit like that.
But is there a non-gay way to eat kielbasa?
Yeah, you gotta dice it up into tiny cubes, throw it in your mouth.
That's a serial killer. That's not a straight person.
So he was, one day he called me up and he was like, I just want to tell you I'm a bear. And I was like, what? And he's like, I'm a bear. I'm a gay man. I'm a bear. And I was like, oh, right on. We always thought, but we didn't know. And I told Jason Mewes, and Jason goes, I did it to him. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I kept saying he was gay and he just went for it. So Malcolm, when he was explaining the bear community to me, I was like, what's it like? He's like, you'd fucking love it. He's going, because dudes like us finally fucking come out on top, and I mean that literally. He's like, I bet you never fucking take your shirt off during sex. I was like, I don't take my fucking shirt off in the shower. Why would I take it off during sex? What if my wife sees my tits are bigger than hers and shit? And he goes, in the gay community, man, when you're in the bear community, you fucking take all the clothes off. The fat is part of the sex. And I was like, how? You just push your tits together and get fucked between them or something like that? And he goes, no, it's even worse. And I said, what is it? And he goes, well, fucking, like, you know, when they love the fat, you work it into the sex. So, like, there'll be a dude and he's fucking sucking my dick. He's like, and then I'll pick up my gut and then I'll gently put it on his head. I said, get out of here. He goes, no, they fucking love it. He's like, and then I'll rub it back and forth. Like I'm rubbing a bowling ball. He's like, and then when I'm about to come, I lift my gut up, and when I come, I drop it on his fucking head. And I said, you don't fucking get punched for that? And he goes, no, we call it love. So Malcolm is my big bear friend, and Malcolm came down to Buffalo when I was doing a gig, and I had nothing to do. I did a night full of gigs, 2 gigs, and then the whole next day, nothing to do until at night, 2 more gigs. So Fury Road was out, and I was like, let's go check it out, man. And he's like, all right, but I don't want to eat the movie snacks. I'm on a diet. And I was like, all right, so we just won't get snacks. He's like, I didn't say I didn't want to eat. I just don't want to eat the movie snacks. And I was like, what do you suggest? He's like, let's go to the grocery store. So we went to the grocery store and just picked out like shit as if we were shopping for the house. Like he bought fucking cheeses and bought kielbasa as well. Bought a paring knife to cut it with and shit like that. Bought a bottle of wine. You know, I bought some fucking Rice Krispie treats. That was my big fucking purchase and shit.
He was having a picnic.
He bought a picnic basket. He had it in a fucking bag, brown paper bag. We go to the theater and stuff, and we buy our tickets, and we get inside. We give our tickets to the ticket kid. Malcolm's carrying this big-ass fucking bag, of a grocery bag, full of groceries. And so the guy rips the ticket, and we walk past, and you can tell he's in a moral quandary. And then finally he's like, excuse? And I turned and I was like, yes. And he was like, you can't bring food, like real food, into a movie theater. And I was like, oh, we're not gonna eat it. We just went grocery shopping and it's hot outside, so it's cold in here, so we just didn't want the cheese to go bad. So we're just putting it under our seat. And he goes, oh, okay. And so then we went to the theater and literally unpacked a fucking picnic. And fucking we're eating like wine and cheese and cutting it onto little crackers and shit like that. And that's how we watched Fury Road, all classy and shit like that. And absolutely adored that movie. Like I liked Mad Max and I liked the Road Warrior when I was a kid. They were part of my childhood, but not a seminal part of it. They were movies that I saw once and appreciated, but wasn't a big cult fan of. But that movie I fucking loved. That movie made me a bigger fan of the earlier 2, and even Beyond Thunderdome, which is really fucking hard. But it was a wonderfully fucking put together movie by a guy who's 70 years old.
Yes.
So it's like you watch him do, a 70-year-old man makes Fury Road, a fucking 45-year-old man makes yoga hosers. You know, it's like, you can see there's a length.
Well, no, you're working up to it.
Yeah, one day I'll get to Fury Road. I'll never get to Fury Road. I'm not mad enough. You know what I'm saying? I'm just too chill.
We can fix that.
How so?
I can make you mad. I'll figure it out. I don't know how now.
I thought you had casting news or something like that. All right, so what's the next thing on the list?
The next thing on the list is the It trailer dropped, and we seem to be in the middle of
I saw that.
yeah, like a Stephen King renaissance. Like there's now 5 projects happening Stephen King related within the next year.
Name them off and save the one you know best for last.
Okay, The Mist, currently on Spike
They're
TV.
doing that show right now on
Yeah.
Spike.
Mr. Mercedes.
That's a Stephen King thing?
Yeah, I don't know which one, but it is.
Okay.
The Dark Tower.
Yes, that's coming out very soon in the States at least.
It.
The trailer is pretty creepy.
I'm not going to see it because I'm a pussy. And then Castle Rock.
Castle Rock is a TV show or a streaming show that's going to be on Amazon?
It'll be on Hulu in the US
Hulu.
and then somewhere else internationally.
The producer's name on the show?
On the Castle Rock show,
Yeah.
J.J. Abrams.
One of the writers on the show?
Me.
Marc Bernardin writes on that show, ladies and gentlemen.
You guys.
So, not only are you doing news about the Stephen King Renaissance, you are literally part of the Stephen King Renaissance.
I am, and I can plant like false flag information and see which bad sites pick it up. It's like, oh no, it's a time travel story. Oh no, it's absolutely about Pennywise before he was Pennywise, when he was just a boy, before he was a demon clown.
Is that what it's about?
Yeah. No. Yeah.
That's what, when I first heard of that show, it's like, oh my God, it's going to be like the Avengers of the Stephen King universe. Like fucking Christine's going to go screeching up onto the lawn of the Overlook Hotel and fucking Cujo's going to pop out of the car and shit.
I mean, season 2, don't give it away. It's like Toonces the cat, but with Cujo.
What is the word on the trailer? I thought it was creepy.
The trailer looks creepy as fuck, and the movie has been a little bit, not even to say controversial, but they lost their first director.
Did they?
Cary Fukunaga was going to be the director, the dude who did True Detective. And I think they just had the infamous Hollywood creative differences, and it just didn't work out. And they got this guy that I'd never heard of before and still don't know his name. Rich, do you know his name? Fuck! Come on, man. You had one job. You know the guy who directed it. And it looks amazing. It looks creepy as hell. You know, and horror is among many things. It's a movie about codes, and it's a genre about, you know, tipping things with color and foreshadowing, and watching, even in the trailer, the way they use the color red, the way it just pops up. It's the V on the dude's cast that had been written losers and turned into lovers. There's just little swatches of red, which of course is the red balloon that Pennywise uses to lure you into the sewer. It looks amazing. And it shouldn't be. God, it's a remake of it. It shouldn't look good.
It's got one of the Stranger Things kid in it, right? Finn Wolfhard's in
Yeah.
it.
And the dude who plays Pennywise, Bill Skarsgård, is in Castle Rock also.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Who is it?
One of the Skarsgård boys. There's 19 of them. I think they breed them like Hemsworths over there.
He's related to
It's a Stellan. He's Stellan's kid.
and to Alexander the
Yeah.
vampire. That fucking guy is hot.
I mean, it's like there's a Norwegian tennis pro factory that they just keep churning out these lanky, tall, blonde Adonises. And frankly, it's annoying.
Yeah.
Like, I would like less of them in the world.
Because in America, they turn out shit like this.
Hey, how you doing?
We are Americans, ladies and gentlemen, but we are over here, of course, on England's Grand Shores. And there's a website here that I've been reading for years and has a stellar reputation, and a good dude that runs it, who I've been emailing with for years. So we figured, since we're here, I guarantee you he knows some shit going on in the world of comics that we don't, and in the world of the con. So welcome to the stage from bleedingcool.com, Rich Johnston, everybody. Pleasure.
No, I can't get in that way. Oh, wait.
There's no chair. Sit right there.
I'll stand. I'll
Yeah?
lean. I'll
It's
lean.
gonna be
I'm
awkward
good.
if we're all like
Yeah.
this. Fair enough. How are you, sir?
Very well, very well. Love
What's
this
the
show.
word, man? Give us some gossip.
Oh, well, a good one would be Dan Fogler. You know the guy from Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them?
I know him very well.
He's also starting a whole new line of comic books. He writes and draws comics. He's doing some new stuff.
Moon Lake is the
Yeah,
comic
he's
he
doing a new
does?
thing for heavy metal called Ghoul Screamer, which is like a kind of a Ghost Rider rip-off, but with heavy metal bands and stuff. But he was here signing yesterday, And
Was he signing for his? He was signing for his book.
he was signing his book, but everyone in the line
But everyone was like,
was there for Fantastic Beasts,
Fantastic
of course,
Beasts.
yeah. But
the baker.
Harry Potter fans are quite intense. Some are more intense than others. And there was one guy who was there to kill Dan Fogler. Because, and I shit you not, he believed that Dan Fogler was actually the wizard Grimwald using a polyjuice potion, and it is his mission to strangle him, kill him to death. This got out amongst the line because, Harry Potter fans, they look after their own, they know when there's an issue. And so a few of the security guards got to hear about this guy, and Tony Lee, one of the guys who runs the show, he kind of walked by and said, "So what are you doing here?" "I'm here to kill." He says he's Dan Fogler, he's not Dan Fogler, he's Grimwald, polyjuice potion. And so Tony, very carefully and kindly, talked him through. Well, he can't be, because that character is from the early part of the 20th century, so he wouldn't be around here anymore. Well, he could have used a time turner. No, they don't work like that, do they? They go back the other way. Oh,
Wait a second. Wait. You're right. They don't work
there
that
you go.
way.
I mean,
I had to think about the movie.
Tony should have just taken his wand.
Well, there you want. Oh, apparently he didn't have a wand. He was just going to use his fist, strangulation, that kind of thing. So this was talked through, and eventually the guy goes, "Oh, I suppose this guy can't be. He must be a relation of the character from the film. Oh, I suppose so. Oh, I'll go off and I'll go and find Benedict Cumberbatch then." And he did. At which point he'd left the line, and security knew, and he was escorted away and dealt with however you deal with people who want to come on stage and kill actors.
Dementors, right? Dementors deal with it.
Yeah, there we go.
That's
There we
a
go.
real fucking story?
Yeah, that happened yesterday.
And they were like, "Thank God we got him out of our line and into Benedict Cumberbatch's line."
But I mean, similar happened to me. I was at my table, because they set me up at the table here. It's great. Have a table. It's fantastic. And a guy came up when I wasn't there, because I was out, trying to find stories. And he spoke to the guy who was next to the table, saying, "Where's Rich Johnston? I want to talk to Rich Johnston." "Oh, he's not here. He'll be back later." What do you do comics?" "Oh, this is all Tumblr art. I hate Tumblr art. What's all this stuff about?" "Do you know Garth Ennis?" And the guy goes, "Well, I've heard of Garth Ennis. He's the comic book writer. He created Preacher, amongst many other things." "Oh, I hate Garth Ennis. Garth Ennis is an arsehole. I sent him a letter bomb." "You did what?" "I sent him a letter bomb, but I must have got the stamps, the postage on it incorrect, because it was sent back to me. But I'd forgotten I sent it, so I opened it and it blew up in my face, and that's why I wear this flat cap, this cap." "Okay, this is... I'm off now, goodbye." He's like, yeah, so obviously, because he could have been absolutely nutty, he could have been insane, but these days you don't know. After Phoenix Comic Con, you don't know. So, the words got back, so Garth Ennis is aware, and he is checking his mail, but it's absolutely insane. But at least we have a kind of a community where people are aware that some people take it a bit too far, and they can report to the right people, so the word gets out there, so we can kind of look after our own in that way.
It's true. Cool. When you think about it, like for a community that carries around swords, there aren't a lot of bad things that happen that could happen.
Oh, well, it's true. There was another show here in London a couple of years ago called the MCM, and they now have the whole of the building that they're in, but they used to share it with other events going on. And there was one I specifically remember where there was a meeting it's a peaceful meeting of various Islamic communities. So Sunnis, Shiites, Sufi, all kind of meeting together to find their common grounds, that kind of thing. Obviously when you get any kind of community of peace, someone's going to get stabbed. There was a stabbing, and all the police were like cordoning off everywhere, and there were these guys walking past with these fuck-off huge Japanese sword things, these massive things, and they weren't the ones getting stopped. But it was everybody else was getting stopped. We were all getting searched. But yeah, so it's usually the comic book people are generally the kind of people you can trust. Although the Phoenix guy, that has kind of ruined it for a lot of people. You know that story?
Phoenix guy? No.
A guy at the Phoenix Comic Con, and security was tight. It was the time after we'd had the Manchester incidents and the various bombings. Security was tight, but one guy got through security armed to the teeth. He was cosplaying as the Punisher. And they let him through with proper guns, ammo, the lot. And he got through. He then sent a few messages to a few friends on Facebook saying, "I'm going to kill Jason David Frank." What? The Power Ranger.
Who wants to kill a Power Ranger?
He was going to kill him and then take out any other police who were there at the same time. Thank you, Kevin. It's very kind of you. And thankfully, the person he messaged on Facebook goes, dude, this is insane. You're crazy. I'm going to call the cops. And they called the cops. She called the cops on him. And he was stopped, I think, one floor away from going up to Jason David and Frank, shooting him, and then shooting any police who came from him and, getting done in by a hail of bullets. So he's now been arrested. But so after that moment, that was the thing.
They don't tell you this shit before you come to the con.
That's right. So at that moment, there's been a lot more security, and suddenly all the metal detectors are up, and if you're trying to get into shows, I don't know if you had this, you may have been searched quite a bit, but that's now the norm.
It's kind of standard.
I thought just they were going to second base with me. That was the search. And was like, yeah, thank you, London. This is a friendly town. Using the whole fist, Doc?
Those Potter fans, you don't think of them as being that intense.
No, well, yes, you
But
don't
that's
live here.
deep cuts, man. If you're sitting there like going, if you're bringing polyjuice potion into the equation,
Absolutely.
like it's insane. But I kind of respect that. Like
You're committing. You're really
Yes.
committing to your fandom.
your
Yeah,
logic
yeah.
makes sense, even if it's twisted and wrong. I'm gonna name drop right here. Watch
Do
this.
it, bring it.
I'm gonna unzip my name dropping dick.
Yeah.
Alan Rickman. Oosh. The great Alan Rickman once told me a story. Thank you. The great Alan Rickman once told me a story. I was doing a show here at the O2 years ago, and he went to the show, and he loved to go to the shows, the Q&As whenever I did in town, he'd go. We were driving back, and he was like, I love going to Q&As. Everybody in the audience knows who I am. He's like, and they're all very polite. This is before the age of the digital phone and selfie and stuff like that. So he liked being around people because they'd just be like, good on you and shit like that. So we were driving back from the show, and he wanted to grab something to eat, him and Rima, his lady, and my wife was with me, Jen. And so we're driving back from the O2 into London, and he goes, I just want you to know I bought an apartment. I can't fucking do his voice. He goes, I just want you to know I bought an apartment in New York. I said, get out of here after all this time, because he had directed plays over there and didn't commit to an apartment, been in plays rather, and didn't commit to an apartment. So he said, fine, I did. I bought a apartment, and he gave me the address. And I was like, holy shit, man, that's Tony address. It's real great. And he goes, well, the problem is Ray Fiennes lives in the building as well. And I was like, why is that a problem? You guys are friends. And he goes, yes, but some of the Potter fans are rather intense. And if they find out that Voldemort and Snape live in the same building, he's like, they might bring it to the ground. I was just thinking of Alan. Very sweet dude. That's his story. What else you got?
Well, just the story you're just telling there reminded me, I was chatting to Richard E. Grant, since I can name drop as well,
Yes.
just the other week, and he was talking about, there we go. A little more like that, I'm afraid. Yeah. But he was talking about, he knows the fans, the different fans. He knows the person who likes With Nail and I, and he knows the person who likes Doctor Who, and it's the people who like Hudson Hawk are the ones he has to run away from very, very quickly.
Those must not be that very. They're not legion at this
There's
point.
no, exactly, but you can tell them. There's a
As
certain
they come
look
up,
in the eye.
They might hand you a card that says nothing.
But he keeps getting mistaken for Jeffrey Rush when he's in New York.
I would believe that.
Yeah. Well, Jeffrey's
In America.
Yeah, he's about 20 years older than Richard, so Richard's not that happy about it.
But in America, we're all like, they just look British all together and stuff. Let's jump to the audience, man. When we were in Comic-Con, we started throwing it out to the crowd to see what they want to talk about. What do you want to talk about? Thank you. It's in a few days, but thank you in advance.
Actually, a few years ago about Mallrats 2, two questions. Mallrats 2, I know it's going to be a TV show. Can you talk a little bit more about that? And the second question is, since you're an honorary Canadian, and you like dick and fart jokes, the king of it, have you watched Letterkenny?
I love Letterkenny. It's a show. It's on, what is it? Crackle in Canada. I don't know how you would watch it here, but I guess they have an app you could probably download. It's a hysterical, very Canadian show set in a very small town where hockey and religion are the only two things. Yes, I've seen it and I love it. Mallrats, I took out as a series with Universal Television and pitched it 6 places. Of course, the usual suspects: Amazon, Netflix, Hulu. All of them were like, "Oh my God, I loved Mallrats, the movie," and none of them went for the series. There's still 3 places left to go that we didn't pitch to. One of which was Stars, which is a channel in the States. I don't know if it carries over here. But they've been running a lot of my flicks lately, so we were like, maybe we should pop in there. But after the 6 places, I felt really fucking burned. Not burned, but it's tough. I couldn't play with my old toys. Like Clerks, I couldn't do Clerks 3 because the guy who plays Randall didn't want to do it. And the whole movie was written for him and predicated on him. So once he was like, I don't want to do it, it all falls apart. So that's out of my hands. Mallrats, the series, I don't own it. I don't own Mallrats because Universal does, so I had to kind of go through a weird path with them. And that's frustrating because I could have gotten it made independently with outside money, but Universal doesn't let go of catalog titles. So that was frustrating, pitching it 6 places and watching just people be like, nah, I don't see it. So then I was like, why am I beating my head against the wall? Like, I obviously want to play with my old toys, but I don't own some of them. They belong to other people. But I do own Jay and Silent Bob and have since the beginning. When we sold Clerks to Miramax, I had this lawyer, still have him, John Sloss, and I asked him, hey, I know I'm going to use those characters in another movie. Like, I already wrote them into this movie called Dogma. I want to put them in Mallrats. Like, is there any way we can maybe get like clearance or something so that I can do that, you know, that Miramax owns Clerks, but I can use Jay and Silent Bob in the other movies? And so my lawyer was like, let's just ask if we can own them. And I was like, you can do that? And he's like, fucking Hollywood, we'll try. And so he was like, hey, he talked to Harvey Weinstein. He was like, hey, you know, Kevin Smith wants to know if he can keep the Jay and Silent Bob characters from Clerks. And Harvey was like, who? You know, and he was like, Kevin Smith wants to keep Jay and Silent Bob. And he's like, who are they? And he said, they're the drug dealers that hang out in front of the store in the movie. And he goes, why does he want to own the characters? And he goes, well, the one guy's name is Jay and the character's name is Jay, and he's afraid that he won't own himself anymore or something. He goes, these kids are from Jersey, man. So, but anyway, they're looking to have him. And Harvey goes, well, you know, the movie's called Clerks. It's about the clerks. Nobody cares about the drug dealers outside, you know. So yeah, go ahead. And they gave us those characters, which we've owned ever since and has been like a real umbrella in bad times and shit. Even something as simple as like us doing the podcast, Jay and Silent Bob Get Old, would have been prohibited if we didn't own the characters, somebody else did. So every time I run into Harvey Weinstein, he still kind of reminds me of it to this day. He's like, how's the Jay and Silent Bob empire? I was like, still thriving, thanks to you. He goes, worst decision I ever made.
Does he relish being like the second example after Fox and Star Wars of what you should not do as a studio?
I think Fox is crying harder than Harvey ever did. He's like, I lost out on Jay and Silent Bob, whereas Fox is like, we had Star Wars!
That's an addendum to that.
Yes.
Don't let him have it.
A
Never let him
PS.
have it.
Okay, where do we go to next? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. They got a mic and they're passing it around.
I was
Hold
at
on.
the podcast last night, and it occurred to me, and it might just be me, that Scott Mosher started to look a lot like Rick Grimes from The Walking Dead.
Didn't he? Old Man Rick, particularly. Yeah, I saw him and with the full beard, Scott, who I do Smodcast with and produced all the early movies. He has this thick-ass beard now. He does have a fucking cosplaying Rick look about him and stuff. Somebody came up to him, he said, yesterday, and he thought it was for Smodcast, and they were just like, I love you on Walking Dead, you know, walked away. Where are we going to next?
Hiya. Just wondered, are we ever going to get comic book men over here?
I hope so. I don't know why it isn't. I mean, it's in
Yeah.
English, so it should translate pretty damn well. And we keep asking AMC, and we're going into our season 7. We just started shooting the 7th season. The boys back in Jersey are shooting as we speak. And when I leave here, I go to France with my mom, and then after we leave, we go back to the States. We go to Jersey and shoot Comic Book Men. So it's going into season 7. I don't know does AMC don't they have a channel out here, and they just don't put it on that channel?
That's shit.
Well, that kind of says a lot, doesn't it? I don't know. We keep asking though, but I'll ask once again. But I have no control over that sort of thing.
Okay, next question is down the front here.
Hey.
Hi, Kevin.
Hey.
My name's Paddy. As well as being a big fan of yours, I'm like basically the biggest Harrison Ford fan there is. I wanted to know, I know you got to visit the set of The Force Awakens and cried at the Millennium Falcon and all that stuff. Did you meet Harrison? Have you met him? Have you got a cool Harrison Ford story?
I didn't meet Harrison Ford. He was there when I was there on the set that day, and I saw him from a distance, but I didn't want to go over, and be like, oh my God, So I saw him, and I saw Chewie from a distance, but I didn't go over and embrace. And I've never met Harrison Ford in any other walk of life. Never come across him or anything like that, which sounds dirtier than I meant it. But I hear he's my kind of people. I hear he's a major stoner. From everybody that works in this business, they're like, the only person who smokes more weed than you is Harrison Ford. And I'm like, are you fucking serious? Like, oh yeah, Han Solo flies. But that's hearsay. I don't personally know. That's me, information given to me by others. But I've never met the guy.
He did decide to get an earring at 60.
It's kind of metal.
Yeah.
All right, our next question's from up the back here.
Sure.
Hey, Kevin.
Hey.
Hey, got a serious question for you now. Me and my friend from high school, we've had this argument for years.
Yes.
Jay and Silent Bob, which one's the sidekick?
Oh. Do I answer it as the writer or as the guy who plays one of them? Honestly, it's Silent Bob is the sidekick. You lost? You see it as Silent Bob's journey?
Yeah. I gotta suck his dick now. Your fault.
Well, come up here so we can all watch. Come on up, there's a camera.
It's not got big enough zoom.
Nicely done.
Kevin,
Yes.
can I come and take a selfie with you and Marc?
Absolutely, come on up.
That'd be amazing.
All right, where are we going next?
Sadly, we have run out of time on this panel. I hope you've all enjoyed yourselves.
Wait, what?
Is that a woo? One singular woo. My mic on? Yeah, there we go. We have come to the end of the panel.
Oh, we are?
Yes.
Oh, shit. That's what.
Yeah.
One more question. I think
One
we were
more
all...
Your hand was the first one I saw, so...
Oh, my God. You're going to end it.
All right, no pressure.
All the pressure is on you. The game is on your stick, man. Here we go.
It's just a simple question.
Fuck.
We basically put money towards your video game that you're bringing out. So we're hoping, have you got any more details?
I actually do have an answer for that because I asked Trevor, because a few people on Twitter were like, hey, what's going on with the Fig game? They raised their money on Fig. So I asked Trevor, what's going on with the game? A lot of people have been asking me. And he said that right now they've just built their character deck. Like they're going to put up on the Fig website their update or something like that. But he's still like, the game is at least a year away, but we've taken a giant step closer. But they're working on it tirelessly. That's all they do is that game and stuff. So I look forward to seeing it as well. What's going on?
Nothing. Just having a good time.
Let's do one more question. That was good though. Go. You who looks like me. Yes. How weird is it to interact with people who cosplay as me? It is, honestly, it's not weird at all. Like, in one part, in order to become an entertainer, you have to believe that, like, anything you have to say is of value to anybody in the world. Every single thought, you're like, I have to share that with people. So there's a degree of arrogance that comes along with it. So there's a part of my brain when I see somebody dressed like me that instantly goes, now that guy's got the right idea. But I've been seeing it for years. Like Jay and Silent Bob particularly was a very easy cosplay. You know, you put on a trench coat, backwards baseball cap, burn cork beard if you don't want to commit to like hair or beard. And so at cons, I would see them from, I would say from the year 2000 till about 2 years ago, all I ever saw were Silent Bobs. And then about 2 years ago, it shifted. And now I see more Kevin Smiths, like in jerseys and that jersey or in the black jersey and stuff like that. You're the rare one that doesn't have a baseball cap on, but you got a lustrous head of hair, so it's awesome. You look like TV Kevin Smith when he gets his hair done and shit. My mother's like, why can't you do that every day? I was like, I ain't got the money. But it's wonderful. Like, it's weird and wonderful. And the shift from people cosplaying the character that I played to like literally cosplaying me makes me go like, oh, I've achieved my goal of becoming a human cartoon. So it's a very easy look to pull off. But I love it. There's no part of it that's creepy to me. I'm just like, that rocks. I always tend to like get to take pictures with people. All the pictures I took with Silent Bob lookalikes, they digi-send me and stuff. So it's fun, man. My mother fucking loves it. She's like, oh, Tiger, they look like you. And I was like, that one's not even trying, Ma. Let's do another. You go before they throw us out.
Oh. One very quick one.
How's it going? He's asking about when I leave here, I go to New Jersey to shoot some comic book men. One of the things we're doing, and you all are invited if you feel like taking the trip across the Atlantic, is on August 5th, we're celebrating both my on August 2nd, it's my 47th birthday, but we're celebrating on the show like 3 days later. At the same time, celebrating the 20th anniversary of Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash. We've been a brick and mortar store for 20 years. So we're shooting an episode, don't bother, thank you, you're very sweet. We're shooting an episode there of our TV show Comic Book Men, which we can't get here for some reason, that focuses on that day. And so what we had was we called up the Guinness Book of World Records and asked if we can get them to come down and certify the record we were trying to break. We're trying to break the record for the world's largest gathering of Jay and Silent Bob cosplayers. So they're like, you just have to break 250. That's the record. And I was like, it happened before? And they're like, no, that's just a starting record for anything, 250. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be easy. So right now, I think we're up to 500. So there are 500 Jay and Silent Bobs. We'll all take a picture together and shit like that and shoot that episode. My wife is coming out for the shooting of that episode. I was begging her to put on a costume. I was like, dress like Jay. And she's like, I don't want to be involved in your fucking show. But I told her, I was like, hey man, you gotta be careful because you're gonna be surrounded by Kevin Smith and Silent Bob lookalikes. What if you accidentally fuck the wrong one of us? And she goes, Kevin, I don't even fuck the right one. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here today. Thanks to our guest, Rich Johnston. For Fat Man and Batman, I'm Kevin Smith.
I'm Marc Bernardin.
Tune in next week, same fat time, same fat channel, smodcast.com or
YouTube.com/Kevin Smith.
Have a great con, London!
Woo!